Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Learn and Heal. Today we are going to discuss the second unit, Understanding the Learning Disabilities. Already in the first lecture we have discussed about the meaning and definition of learning disabilities. First we will be recollecting the definition of learning disability. Learning disabilities are referred to a number of disorders which may affect the acquisition, organization, retention, understanding or use of verbal or non-verbal information. Now moving to the lecture number 2, we are going to discuss about the different type of learning disabilities. First, we'll be taking a look at what are these learning disabilities are. Dyspraxia. Dyspraxia is a learning disability which affect articulation and speech. Articulation is nothing but the formation of clear and distinct sound in speech. And this dyspraxia is a disorder affecting the fine and gross motor coordination. We'll be discussing in detail in the coming minutes. Then dyslexia. It is a reading disability. Then dyscalculia. Dyscalculia is a computational disability. And the last disability we have to discuss about is dysgraphia. It is a writing disability. Let us talk about each and every learning disability separately one by one. The first one is dyslexia. You might be knowing people who knows the spelling of some words. For example, if you take apple, he knows what is the spelling of the apple. He learned it plenty of times. But even though if you ask him, please spell apple, he cannot spell that. Maybe his sound won't come from him properly. So that is a particular kind of disability that we are calling it as dyslexia. It affects the reading and related language based processing skills, and the common characteristics of this dyslexia is difficulty in spelling, as I mentioned you, and the phonological processing, the manipulatory sounds. In adults, dyslexia usually occurs after a brain injury. Let us understand the signs and symptoms of dyslexia. The individual who is affected by dyslexia reads very slowly and he experiences decoding errors, and he will be having trouble with spelling, and he will be having difficulty in recalling the non words. So you can able to identify a person with dyslexia very easily. He will have a poor performance with respect to his age group. He will be committing a lot of mistakes like the silly symbol spelling mistake. He could not be able to recall a thing that have been told multiple times to him. These are the symptoms of dyslexia. Even he will have a difficulty with written languages. You might have seen this film Tare Zameen Par. The kid Ishan is affected with dyslexia in this film. You might have seen this movie Tare Zameen Par. This is a good movie. This movie is giving you idea about how you have to treat a person with learning disability. And we'll be moving to the next. That is the second learning disability, that is dysgraphia. Dysgraphia is actually a writing disability. Even the student have heard the spelling of particular thing like say apple n number of times, but while writing again he will commit a mistake. So this is a difficulty in writing. We can call it as a writing disability. Difficult to recognize certain letters and write them properly. He will be writing the wrong spelling, like you can see diet instead of the diet. Write letters very improperly. Like if you ask him to write teapot, maybe he will be writing like this one. Next, we'll be talking about dyscalculia. The individual who is affected with this learning disability will be having a poor reasoning power. He will be having the difficulty in understanding numbers learning maths concepts such as quantity, place, value, time, and memorizing maths facts, also called as poor math sense. The people who affected with dyscalculia will have poor math sense. But just remember, this is not the problem of the kid. This is the problem of the brain. Now we'll be moving with the next one, dyspraxia. Dyspraxia, we can say that it is a disorder affecting the fine and gross motor coordination. You can hold a pen and you can write it correctly. Why you can write it correctly? How this is happening? Because our hand and fingers are under the control of brain. But for those people who are affected with this disability, their fingers, their hands will not be under the proper control of the brain. So this fine and gross motor coordination, we can see simply the gross motor skills involves the large muscle movements such as independent sitting, walking or running. The fine motor skills involve the use of smaller muscles such as grasping, drawing. For that we will be using our smaller muscles. It is a form of DCD, developmental coordination disorder. Difficulty with self-care, he will have the difficulty in writing, typing, riding two-wheelers, and it affects the speech, perception and thought of the individual. We'll discuss about one more disease, that is dysphasia. It is resulting from dyspraxia. Those people who are affecting with dysphasia will have a difficulty in pronouncing words correctly. So this is called phonological disorder. So these are the different types of learning disabilities we have to discuss in our syllabus. And in the next lecture, we'll be discussing about the approaches to identify children with disabilities. We'll be discussing about the cognitive approach, sensory approach, disability based approach, society based approach and all. So thank you for listening.